So today's quirky calculator is another Panaplex machine, the 12-digit Panaplex display. A fairly ordinary Panaplex display as they go, hasn't got any of the interesting features like the special 8th segment for the 4, and it hasn't got the little ticks or apostrophes to show these thousands separators. So an interesting display all the same, but not as interesting as, say, the sharp compet that we saw before. This is made by a company called Tealtronic, and on the bottom it says Tokyo Electronics Application Laboratory with teal. It's not coloured teal. It's actually quite a faded beige colour. But Tealtronic is the name of the manufacturer, and it's a fine adding machine style calculator of the 1970s, I think, this one. What a compact little machine. It's not as big as some of the ones that we've seen, but it has got 12 digits. It's got a memory. Let's see if we can make it put something into the memory. Push the M button. Now the M button is just latched down, but the M light has not come on. So I don't know how to put something into the memory. Aha! Pushing equals with the M button pressed has lit the little, again it's a neon bulb, so this is the same orange colour as the Panaplex displays themselves, and that little M button, M light has remained lit. Looks like that's the memory. See if we can recall it. Yes, there it goes. It recalls the memory as you'd expect it to. So that's the M button. There's a K button that is for constant. K is often used for constant in calculators of this era. It's got a floating point or 2, 4 or 6 decimal places. It's got the rounding switch 5, 4 to round up and down, or N. Maybe that means not rounding, I don't know. Maybe it means normal. Hard to say. The key is not actually marked plus equals, but it does seem to have that effect because there's no plus button on the keyboard, and the minus, well, there isn't a minus either, there's just a red equals. So that looks like that's the minus equals button, and this is the plus equals button. So it's using the adding machine logic of the main thing you want to do. The biggest button on here is the equals button, which adds, even though there's no actual plus symbol on there. Now, I think this has got an interesting little trick that it can show us if we press the square root button. So although it's an adding machine calculator with just adding, it can do square root. So let's press the square root. Well, that took a moment, didn't it? Let's put another number in there and press the square root. That's quite an interesting little dance in the display there. Let's try an easy one. Even the easy one took a moment there, didn't it? And it's shown me that it's 7 and all decimal places are 0. It's in F at the moment. Put it into 2 decimal place mode. Come on, there it goes. 49 square root 7.00. So it's using the decimal places there. As I told it to say 2, it's showing me 2 decimal places. If I put it into float and take the square root, it shows me all the decimal places. Okay, but it does take a little bit of time, doesn't it? Do a square root and it thinks for a moment. Now, how do I make that go negative? There we go. Put the negative signs on the right hand end. It isn't over on the left hand end where we'd expect it on modern calculators. It's on the right hand end. Again, I think that's adding machine practice. Now, square root that, and it quite happily takes me to the square root of a negative number and produces a negative answer. Well, that's not even remotely correct. Let's try it with an easy one. 49 minus, oh no, that's not going to do me any good. 49 minus, okay, so that's negative 49. What's the square root of that? Oh, it's obviously minus 7. So that's not quite making as much sense as maybe it should do. Anyway, that's an interesting little quirk on the Tealtronic. There's no model number on this one. label on the bottom says Tokyo Electronic Applications Laboratory, and it can take square roots of negative numbers and give negative results. There we go.